Welcome to the call. This is your first time joining us. Welcome. I remember when I first started entrepreneurship and I was looking forward to these type of calls. I wasn't only looking forward to them for the information, I was looking forward for the inspiration, because garbage in is garbage out and greatness in is greatness out. So shout out to each and every single one of you guys that are making a decision this morning to subscribe to something positive and set the tone for your day with something inspirational, motivational, and whatever the case may be that you're looking for. And if you are joining us again, welcome home. So my name is Pamela Pacheco, and I have the absolute honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host. And if you were with us last week, we were talking about the 30-day run, and we're talking about managing multiplication. Type of one in the chat. You were talking about, you remember us talking about envisioning and committing and maximizing the 30 days. Awesome. And we talked about valuing it like an owner and caring for it like a steward. And today, what I want to talk about is winning. Shout out to Mr. Maxi Malore. He absolutely delivered such a powerful Black Friday training, and the recording for that is up, and I will put the link in the chat. I see that Max is on here. Max, if you want to drop that would be amazing. That was absolutely incredible. Make sure you're sending it to all panelists and attendees. I know a lot of you guys are on there last night taking copious notes, just like I was. But what I want to talk to you guys about is winning. And when we talked about winning, more so the mindset of leaders who do not lose, right? Leaders who do not lose. And if you have ever read the book Winning by Tim Grover, type a 1 in the chat. And basically, Tim Grover is, one of those champions. If you've ever studied the greats like Kobe Bryant, right? He is one of the coach's coach. He is the winner's coach. But basically, Grover is going over in this book is debunking the myth that winners are born with natural talent, right? He argues that anyone can become a winner through hard work, through dedication, and never giving up. And one of those things that it basically just goes into it. And when we talk about leaders do not lose, right? And if you're taking notes down, talking about winning, knowing that leaders do not lose. And what does that mean? If you're acting, and type in the chat before I actually answer, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Leaders who don't lose. Awesome. Make sure you're sending it to all panelists and attendees. Great. So let's talk about that for a little bit. It's all about a mindset, right? Because we always say everything lives and dies on leadership. Yes, you win or you learn. Absolutely, Maximo, Denise, you're learning. Absolutely. And yes, it's a winning or learning mindset and lessons. Absolutely, Michelle. All of those things, right? All of those things are absolutely correct. And when you're talking about the mindset of a leader is knowing, number one, that leaders suffer well. See, here's the reality. People notice your victories, but they can't take their eyes off of your defeats. People notice your victories, but they can't take their eyes off of your defeats. And here's the reality. A lot of times, and here, especially in this industry, in this business, we get paid in public for what we do in private. We get paid in public for how many times you failed in private. How many times, how many calls, how many no's you went through, how many no-shows you went through, how many people got started and quit, how many people told you they wanted to go Crown Royale, how many people they told you they wanted to maximize their square bonus in the next 25 days. And oh my goodness, type of 1 in the chat if you can relate, right? Type of 1 in the chat if you can relate. And that's really, absolutely. And that is really because the reality comes, leaders who don't lose suffer well, because they understand that it doesn't matter how many times they suffer in silence or they fail in private, and it's always bigger than what the suffering. See, we hear all the time, pain is inevitable and suffering is a choice. Like, not prolonging your suffering, not prolonging what it is that you're growing through, not prolonging whatever lesson is that we have to learn in the process. And when you hear the term, people notice your victories, but they can't take their eyes off of your defeats. What does that mean? You hear it probably oftentimes. It's like what you can do in years worth, right? It takes a second to destroy. Or it takes, and a lot of people, how many people, when anybody can ever feel that? And I don't really experience it that much now, right? However, I have definitely experienced that. People notice your victories and they're like, right, a little clap, like congratulations, but they can't take off their eyes off of your defeats. They just assume that you're still that person. They assume that you're still that person, whether that person that was broken, whether it was that person who you used to be. And a lot of times people can take their eyes off of their defeat, off of our defeats, is because, see, they don't necessarily, it's not that they don't want you to be victorious. It's not that they are not happy for our victory. It's not that they're not happy for our win. But the reality is that people can associate more with your loss. People can always associate more with your defeat. People can always associate more with your limiting belief, because if you realize around the world, are more people broken or are more people happy? Are more people unhealthy or are more people healthy? So of course, somebody can always, they'll clap for your victory and it's very short-lived, but they can't take their eyes off of your defeats, because all that they are associating themselves with is the loss. They're not necessarily seeing the prize. They're not necessarily seeing everything that it took for us to get to this very moment. Does that make sense? So I love the fact that when Tim Grover is talking about winning, right, he's like, number one is like winning wages war on the battlefield in your mind. And it doesn't say I don't have a better way to do this. It says winning, excuse the colorful language, F's with your mind, right? It just does, because you understand that it's a choice. And see, leaders who choose joy are leaders who can't lose, because leaders that are choosing joy, happiness is a feeling, but joy is always a choice, but winning is always a choice as well. And when you're thinking about, you know, this business, and when you're thinking about life, and when you're thinking about so many different things, and you're saying, okay, well, what is it exactly? Absolutely, Michelle, he is definitely one of the rawest and realest. What winning makes you different. And different, it scares people. See, when you are someone that you're just committed to winning, when you're someone that's like, you know what, I am not going to lose, and I am definitely going to suffer well, because I understand what that victory looks like, and that victory is beyond me. It is for somebody else. That victory is to impact and inspire and lead and show what's possible, right? So it's always beyond us. And one of the reasons that, and we'll go over to, you know, a little bit more in depth of the language of winning, but as it correlates to every aspect of our life, because how many things did you try at first? Like, type of one in the chat, did you ever try something at first and then you didn't get the results right away, or you didn't learn it right away and then you had to do it a few more times? Like, is there, yes, type of, I see all the ones coming in. Absolutely. And you didn't, anybody, like, I remember riding a bike, and I remember when I first heard this analogy, I heard it and I saw it, was like, oh my goodness, that's so simple, but yet it's so profound because I could relate. Type of one, if you ever rode a bike before, and did you like have training wheels on that bike, or did you just go right on into it? Right, were you like me? Did you have the training wheels? And then were you that person that you tried to take the training wheels off of it when nobody was looking, and then you busted your behind riding that bike when nobody was watching, and you took off the training wheels because you thought you was a little grown and you thought you was popping, right? And then as soon as you fell, boy, as soon as you lost that balance, you realized you was not popping as much as you thought. The only thing that popped was your head on that ground. Right? Absolutely. And see, the reality is that you suffered well through that. You suffered well through that, and you didn't necessarily like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to ride a bike ever again. Like, you kept trying, because you're like, look, man, all the kids is outside. All the kids are outside. I'm about to go. This is my ticket outside of the house. My homework is done. I want to be outside, because we used to want to be outside all the time, right? And it's because of those things that is like, you have that winning mindset, you have that relentless mindset, but you have that inside of you when you're a kid, that childlike enthusiasm of, I'm going to keep going no matter what. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep giving it a shot. I'm going to keep on swimming. Yes, Mitchie, absolutely. And it is incredible because when you have that childlike enthusiasm, you don't, losing is not even an option. And that's why when we talk about this business, we always go back to like, go to that childlike enthusiasm, go to that, tap into that part of you that you never thought that losing was even possible. And what the reason why winners do not lose, right? Winners do not lose. Number two is we stay committed. Your perspective on perseverance determines your joy in life. We spoke about earlier, joy is a choice, right? Happiness is simply a feeling, but joy is a choice every single day. But staying committed, your perspective on how you persevere determines the joy that you have in your life. Has anybody, ever tried to do this business and got a little frustrated? Type of one in the chat. If you ever experienced any type of frustration, if you've ever experienced any type of, you're doing a demo, you're hooking up somebody's hands, and somebody is like, you telling them do it like this, and they don't put any water on it, and they're like, well, it's not working, right? Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever experienced you are at a secret social, or are you at a launch event and you have 30 people that confirmed and one person shows up, or there's so many different ways. Like, type it in the chat. I want to hear of a way that you just had to persevere because you had to pivot. And a lot of times we're not going to have somebody right there in the moment that is going to allow us to change our perspective. But as we often say on here, our mindset is where our mind sits. Garbage in is garbage out. Greatness in is greatness out. But what does our perspective on perseverance look like? Because if your perspective on perseverance looks dark, it's going to be dark. But if your perspective on perseverance says, hey, you know what? I understand that the only way through is through. I understand that I'm paying my dues. I understand that what it looks like on the other side is completely different than what it feels like right at this moment. And here's one of those things that always allows me to have a greater perspective on perseverance. And it always allows me to choose joy, right? Because it's a daily thing. It's a daily choice, choosing peace, choosing joy, choosing love, choosing prosperity. These are all choices on a daily basis. But have you ever thought of a time that you went through something, and it could be in business, it could be in life, it could be in your faith, it could be in your relationships, it could be in anything, but it could be in your fitness journey. Have you ever had a moment in life that was a little tough, and you probably didn't think that you were going to come out on the other side, or maybe you did because you're just that faithful and you're able to shift your perspective on perseverance fairly quickly. But have you ever thought of a moment that you just felt defeated? And you felt so defeated, and you just felt like, oh my goodness, I don't know how this is going to happen, or how am I going to get on the other side of this? And can you look back now at that moment and be like, man, I'm so grateful I got on the other side of it. Man, God showed up then, and I know he's going to show up now. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes back to, what does our perspective on perseverance looks like? And when you talk about, and I'm going to like pick little tidbits from the book Winning, because I highly recommend it. Tim Grover is an absolute beast. Relentless, Winning. There's just so many great things. But here's one of the things that he says is like, winning wages war on the battlefield of your mind. When you're focused on winning, when you know that is like, either I win or I learn, there's nothing that happens to you that is going to allow you to get off of course, that is going to allow you to get off of the line, because you are committed to your commitment. And when winning wages war on the battlefield of your mind, it like makes everything out. Like, if it does not serve you, it is out there. And winning is ultimately the ultimate gamble on ourselves, right? It is us betting on ourselves, but it's also knowing that winning is not heartless. It's just you use your heartless, right? You have zero emotional attachment to the process, right? And we hear it oftentimes, is like you're married to the results, but you are divorced from the process, right? You're divorced from the results, but you're married from the process. I haven't had my energy this morning, guys, right? But you guys know what I mean. And the reality is that when you understand that winning belongs to you, you take it. And your perspective on how you persevere, your perspective on how you pivot, your perspective on the things that happen along the way is like, when there is the product that you were just advocating for, if it's not available, how are you responding to that? Are you responding or are you reacting? When you ordered something and you just got somebody started and there was an error in the system, or that person didn't say or do what they said they were going to do, are you able to shift your perspective? Are you able to respond in a way, because you understand winning belongs to you and it's your job to take it no matter what it is? No matter, this is our business. We're co-creating it. When we say we are secret, that means we are secret in every aspect. It's not just in the trips and the amazing experiences and escapes and the getaway. It's not just saying we are secret for the great of it. It's also saying, hey, we are secret and we're going to get through this thing together. We're going to get through the hurdles that are hindering our manufacturing and our production. We're going to get and overcome through the hurdles that may not be perfect at the moment. We're going to overcome through the hurdles of whatever customer service. We're going to overcome through the hurdles and kill out the noise, because you know what blocks out the noise? Winning in every aspect of our life. So as you're staying committed, what does your perspective look like when you are committed? Are you able, in the middle of panic? Yes, absolutely, Denise, me too. Denise, I love that. Denise says, I panic because I am human. Then I pivot because I am a business leader. And it's, again, what are you choosing? What are you choosing? Are you choosing, what perspective are you choosing? Are you choosing the perspective on persevering that determines joy in your life? Or are you choosing the perspective on perseverance that is like, oh, I want to feel sorry for myself? No, like the pandemic, everybody in the world had to pivot. Everybody had to pivot. Everybody had to pivot. More and more people had to pivot than ever in the history of humanity. More people. And you know, the people who were able to survive, and not only survive and thrive, the people that were able to pivot, the people that understand that the survival was determined on your ability to adapt, on your ability to pivot, and staying committed to your commitment. But with your perspective on how you persevere in this season, it's what's going to allow you to win beyond our wildest dreams. Because capitalizing on this Black Friday plan, capitalizing on this opportunity, means that you have to stay committed to your commitment. And the reality is that people don't win across the finish line because they don't have what it takes. It's not that they don't have the skill sets. We have the best training system in the world. Type of one in the chat if you are elevated, you are already fired up and ready for playbook, or you are registered for the RTE December 9th. Yes, 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 absolutely. But the reality is that a lot of people don't get across that finish line because their perspective on perseverance is jaded. And their perspective on perseverance is a one-way street and doesn't allow them to stay committed to their commitment. We could talk about that all day long. But number 3, as leaders that do not lose, leaders do not lose because we strengthen others. When others win, you can't lose. When others win, you can't lose. I'm going to tell you, one of the things, it's interesting because we were having a few back-to-back secret socials, and we probably drove over like 4 hours yesterday, showing and this and that. And that's awesome. It's great. You know, Tampa traffic is crazy, but it's the reality, right? And we're talking about what drives you these days. What is the greatest thing? And the human needs of certainty and security and variety. And some people do it for the significance. Some people do it for the love and the growth and the connection. And I'm the person that at this stage in my life, it's about the contribution for me. To me, it's, the greatest moment of the weekend, last weekend in Elevate, was watching our team walk stage. And when I say our team, it doesn't only mean the people that are directly in our binary. Absolutely. It's very, 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 very special. But when I say our team, I mean our team. Each and every single person that we have these conversations, each and every single person that is on this Breakfast Club call. And we can't even explain to you the love and the sense of pride, but also the sense of fulfillment that we're doing this thing together, but at the same time, we're winning together. It was beautiful to watching Michelle Pelaez walk stage, Michelle Briscoe walk stage, Terry on walk stage, Max and Karen walk stage, Lisa, Denise, it goes on and on and on and on. And it was beautiful also because you bits and pieces of the journey, but also is because when others win, you really can't lose. And winning is a culture. Winning is something that as a company, as a family, it is a mindset and a mentality that we have to adapt and incorporate in this next 30-day run. But more so than anything, we have to adapt it as the culture that it's, if you are in secret, you are a winner, because we have a system, and beyond the system that saves yourself some time, energy, and money, we have a community of empowerment and encouragement that is sacred. It is a family that cares about you, be a bond beyond business. It's a bond beyond bank, right? So it's about leaders understand that they're always going to win, because yes, they suffer well. Yes, they stay committed, but they're strengthening others. And when others win, you can't lose. See, one of the things that you'll always notice is suffering reveals what our priorities are like. Comfort can only dream of. Suffering reveals our priorities like comfort can only dream of. And it just goes back to what are the choices on a daily basis? What are the choices? What is the mindset? What is the perspective on perseverance that determines the joy in your life? What is the perspective that determines the winning? And when we talk about, the language of winning, and when we said, hey, if you're taking notes, winning makes you different, right? And different scares people because how you respond and how you move, and when you know that everything comes to promote you, you have a different sense of self, you have a different attitude, you have a different mindset, you have a different vision for what that looks like. When we say that winning wages war on the battlefields of your mind, it's immediately knowing, okay, my mindset is where my mind sits. I can go ahead and shift that perspective at any time, because choosing joy is a choice. Choosing to win is a choice. Knowing that winning is the ultimate gamble on yourself, because you get paid in public for what you do in private. From how many times can you fail over and over and over again and say, hey, I'm going to keep going because it doesn't matter. People, again, they notice the victories, but they can't take their eyes off of your defeat. Winning isn't heartless, but you use your heartless because there is zero emotional attachment. Right? There's zero emotional attachment to the process, to the results, because you're like, I'm not married to the results. I divorced myself from the results, but I'm married to the process. I'm married to the mission. I'm married to the vision that's greater than me. Winning, you understand that it belongs to you, and it's your job to take it in every aspect of it. You're going to take the win. You're not going to settle for the defeat. You're not going to settle for the loss. You're not going to soak in your misery. Winning wants all of you. There is no balance. There is no, oh, well, there's no balance. And it's funny because I always used to say this in entrepreneurship before I even knew who Tim Grover is. And people were like, is there balance? I'm like, no, there's no balance. There's no balance. It's yes, when one of us win, we all win. But sometimes that looks crazy for everybody. sometimes that looks very different. It looks very unorthodox. It looks not so traditional, because that is what winning looks like. But when you understand that there is no balance, because it just requires all of you. It's not to say that you don't have boundaries for yourself, that you don't have boundaries for the way that you go about to build this, but you also understand that it's like there's no balance because it requires all of you in mind, body, and spirit, that it requires every ounce of effort, because how you do anything is how you do everything. It requires a lasered focus each and every single day. It requires you doing the daily activities, you inviting, you prospecting, you showing, you reaching up to the team, you promoting the cause, you promoting the events, you, if you didn't get on the call, listening to it. If you got on the call and you took notes and you're like, man, I got to take more notes because I want my team, I want to lead by example. I want to win in every aspect, and I want to show my team what winning looks like. Right? The speed of the team, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team is the speed of the leader. And those are things that when you understand that, what that means, you go for it no matter what. Winning is selfish. It is selfish, because sometimes when you realize that there is no balance, people are always going to want more of you. Have you ever said something to somebody and is like, I'm going for this? Have you ever said, I'm going to lose weight? And then all of a sudden the gummy bears and the chocolate is calling your name, and you find a Snickers ice cream that you had no clue was in your freezer, and you're like, blasphemy, right? Like, can anybody relate? Because in any aspect, right? I'm just saying, but it's selfish sometimes, because you have to use your selfless, right? But you got to be selfish for a season so that you can be selfless for a longevity, for you can be selfless forever, for a lifestyle, right? But it requires for you to be selfish for a season. And when you're selfish, it doesn't mean that you're not thinking of other people, but it means that you're like, I can't give from an empty cup. Like, I remember having a conversation when I just came back from a personal development conference and training, and I had a conversation with my loved ones, and I don't have children yet, and my godchildren are the closest thing to me, and I had tia madrina dates, which are like auntie godmom dates, every other weekend. And I was like, listen, we're gonna have to stop some of these things for a season really quick. Tia has something she has to do, and I had to have these conversations with the people in my family that I cared about. I had to tell my mom, I remember, like, mommy, every Sunday after church, I'm not going to be able to go to the barbecue at everybody's house. It's not going to happen every Sunday. I had to tell my friends, look, you know, I'm the favorite auntie, I'm the favorite godmama, but I'm not going to show up for every baby shower, for every birthday party. I was like, when it's something really, really important, I'm going to do my best, but I'm still not going to make any promises. And I said, and I'm not going to do this forever. It's just going to be for a season of my life, because I need the freedom. And a lot of the things, me being outside is like, is not necessarily just sacrificing, but it's, what am I prioritizing? I was like, I didn't care to miss a birthday one time because I wanted my lifestyle to be as if it was my birthday. I remember having a conversation, and it was like a Super Saturday RTE. And I was like, mommy, I know it's your birthday today, but I got to go for these first 4 hours of the day. And I remember she was so upset. But do you think she was upset when she was drinking margaritas in Mexico with me because of my efforts? Because performance has privileges? No. But are you willing to have those conversations? Because it's selfish for a season, so you could be selfless for a lifetime. Winning takes you through hell. And if you quit, that's where you'll stay. Winning takes you through hell, and if you quit, that is where you'll stay. If you ever, like, pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. When you talk about win, and you talk about the odds are going to be set up against you, and you know, death and problems and all types of things are going to come from every side of it. But when you know what that winning looks like, when you have a compelling vision, that vision is what's going to pull you, and motivation can no longer push you. But you understand that it's going to take you through hell and back. See, I realize this. Type of one in the chat you want to be successful. Type a 1 in the chat for you if success means freedom. Type a 1 in the chat for you if success means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Success for Lisa means hooking up people's hands all over the world and traveling and living her best life. What does that mean for you? Type it in the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely, absolutely. See, it takes you through hell, and if you quit, that's where you'll stay. It's the reality is that anything that you want is worth fighting for. And I made that joke about Lisa, but the reality is that I love it because everybody has something different that drives them. Everybody has something different that they love about Secret. And maybe we may all love something similar about Secret. But the reason why we're committed to winning, the reason why we're committed to persisting, the reason why we're committed to persevering, the reason why we're committed to getting to the finish line, the reason why we're committed to helping more people get on stage, the reason why we're committed to our commitment is different for everybody. Because freedom looks different for everyone. Joy looks different for everyone. Your perspective on winning looks different. Your perspective on joy looks different. Your perspective on love looks different. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, probably 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, what does love look like? I would have told you love looks like me having millions of dollars in my bank account and never having to make decisions based on time or money. That's what I would tell you love looks like for me. You asked me that today, the answer didn't really change that much. I'm joking. But love, right, for me is contribution. It's helping people grow. It's helping people impact. But certain things happen in my life that shifted my entire mindset, that shifted my entire perspective, that shifted my entire level of not only discernment, but just everything when it came to certain things. But winning is selfish. Winning takes you through hell. And if you quit, that is where you'll stay. We could spend all day talking about that. Winning is a test with no correct answer. Winning is a test with no correct answer. And what does that exactly mean? It means that there's going to be so many things that you're going to go through. And we were kind of talking about that a little bit earlier. There's going to be so many things that you're going to go through, but understand that what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. Understand that the way you come through on the other side may not be the same way I may go about it, or the person that is next to you may go about it, or your leader may go about it, or your teammate may go about it, but it's your journey. And when they say it's like winning is a test with no correct answer, it's everybody's journey looks different. Type of 1 if you've been through some things that nobody knows about. Type of 1 if you've ever been at some place that you've overcome some battles in private, right? That you've overcome some battles that you never even thought you were going to have strength to do, strength to overcome. You didn't know if you was going to have the strength. You didn't know if you was going to have the bandwidth. You didn't know if you was going to have the mindset. You just say no. All right, no, I'm not talking to myself. Yes, thank you for the ones. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Because winning is a test with no correct answer. But think about also now, I want you to put a me too in the chat. If when you got on the other side of that, it didn't look traditional. How you got on the other side of that, it didn't look traditional. It didn't look cookie cutter. It didn't look like everybody else's journey. It didn't look like that, but you still won. It didn't look like that when you got to the finish line, but you still won. Me too. I see a lot of me too's rolling in. You know why? Because even though winning is a test with no correct answer, see how you win and you still crossed over. That's right. Winning. Yes, Michelle. Yes, Michelle. Yes, yes, yes. Still cross over. Because there's no right answer. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's problems look different. They may be similar. You may be able to identify. You may be able to empathize, to relate. But everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is different, but you still can win, because winning, is a test with no correct answers. But here's another reality of winning. Winning knows all of your secrets. You can't lie. Like, you can't, we say it all the time. You can't be mad. Like, here you get paid in public for what you do in private. But what you do in private, you get paid for in public. And here's the other part that I add to that. And also what you don't do. What you're not doing shows. What you're not doing on your spare time. What you're not thinking about shows. Winning knows every secret. It knows when you started, it knows when you stopped, it knows when you gave up, it knows when you started again. And here's the reality is that what I love about, yes, Lisa, there's so many different ways to win here. There's so many different ways to win here. But when we say winning knows all your secret, this is why winning never lies. Men lie, women lie, numbers do not. Shout out to Jay-Z. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Check the scoreboard. One of my favorite things to always say, because it's real. It's the reality. Winning knows all your secret, and winning never lies. And it's because everything that we do and everything that we don't do comes to surface. It reflects on your business. How you handle teammates, how you handle prospects, how you overcome objections, how you look for solutions when a problem is brought to your attention. Winning knows all of your secrets. Winning never lies, because it's going to tell me, I know when a person is personally developed by how they respond versus how they react. I know when the person is doing the work because I see the growth in inviting from prospect to prospect. I see the growth in your edification. I see the growth in your testimony. I see the growth in how you set up an event. If you were listening and paying attention at the last training, winning knows all your secret. Winning never lies, because anything that we do has a reaction. So cause and effect, where we are at or where we are not, it's a result of what we do or what we don't do. So it's nobody else's responsibility. Responsibility means your ability to respond. So yes, we could talk about that all day long. I hope you guys are getting value from this. Me too, Michelle, me too. I absolutely love this book. Read it so many times. I'm going to listen to the audiobook of it again. Winning is not a marathon. It's a sprint with no finish line. That's going to go over a lot of your heads. It's okay though. Winning is not a marathon. It is a sprint with no finish line. What does that mean? What does that look like for you? See, winning looks different to every single person. But when you realize that winning is bigger than you, bigger than me, there's no finish line, because you always know that more people deserve to win. But here's why there's no finish line for winners. Because we're always growing, we're always stretching. We're always saying, how can I do something bigger? How can I do something better? How can I inspire more? How can I lead more? How can I become better? How can I grow here? How can I win in this area that I suffered in silence a little bit? How can I win here so that my perspective produces a different result because of the work that I'm doing in private? How can I win at a bigger scale? How can I help more people win? How can I go launch another country? How can I go hook up somebody's hands all over the world, not just in my city? Winners are always thinking of more. Winners are always thinking of a greater audience. Winners are always thinking of not just themselves. Winning is everything. Winning is everything. And I know somebody on here is going to be like, but winning isn't everything. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I am never going to be that person that's like, oh, I'm going to clap for you. You got third place. No, you got third place. You should have came in first. right? I'm gonna be a little nicer, but it's winning is everything. I am not the person that is going to be like, clap for your participation. No, because you're a champion. You're a winner. Winning is everything. What does that winning look like to you? Yes, participation is cool. You're sitting in the bleachers, that's cool. But are you sitting in the bleachers because you're disabled? Are you disabled physically? Because if you're disabled physically, I get it. But see, even if you're disabled physically here, it doesn't mean that you're disabled mentally. It doesn't mean that you still can't get in the game. It doesn't mean that you still can't win. It doesn't mean that you don't have everything inside of you to go win at a higher level. And if you're winning already, compared to who? Compared to what? See, I always thought I was winning in life. I always thought I was winning in business. I always thought I was winning financially because I'm making six figures and nobody I knew was making six figures in a year. But when I was making when my mentor showed me that what I was making in a year, he was making in a month. I was like, you're only successful compared to who you're comparing yourself to. You're winning in freedom compared to who? But what does that winning look like for you? Because winning is truly everything. The more we win, the more we're able to help other people win in every aspect of our life. So again, if you're just joining us and you're like, what exactly were we talking about today? Leaders do not lose, right? Leaders do not lose because number one, we suffer well. Number two, we stay committed. Number three, we strengthen others. And the language of winning, we're discussing when it comes to Tim Grover and this business, winning makes you different and different scares people. Winning wages war on the battlefield of your mind. Winning is the ultimate gamble on yourself. Winning isn't heartless. You just use your heartless. Winning belongs to them and it's your job to take it. Winning wants all of you. There is no balance. Winning is selfish. Winning takes you through hell. And if you quit, that is where you'll stay. Winning is a test with no correct answer. Winning knows all of our secrets. Winning never lies. Winning is not a marathon. It is a sprint with no finish line. Winning is everything. Thank you guys so much for getting on. Breakfast has been served. Remember that suffering reveals our priorities like comfort can only dream of. Leaders who choose joy are leaders who can't lose because happiness is more than a feeling, but joy is a choice. And it can be so easy as leaders to rush through the moments that we're chasing success but the truth is that many, many wins come from just staying present, from staying committed to doing what you said you were going to do until what you do becomes true. And how you define a win, how you visualize the win, what you're doing every single day to win. Is it an external mile marker or is it an internal fortitude? Is it just a mission for you or is it a vision and a mission to inspire and to lead the masses? Because what I will tell you is that I've learned as I stay committed to winning and I lean into every moment, joy just shows up in my life. And as joy comes into my life, I'm stronger because of it. And I'm going to continue to win because winning is an attitude. Winning is a mindset and winning is everything. Breakfast has been served. Great day and God bless. I appreciate y'all. Much love to each and every single one of you. Let's keep winning. We have tons of events going on. We have a secret social going on today in Tampa. There's one going also in Dallas.